Well, thank you so much. And now it's time to move on to our next session, which is Bring It On with Deepa Malik and Soni Sangwan. Deepa Malik's journey from paralysis to Paralympic success is one of India's sport's most defining stories. Soni Sangwan brings the journalist's eye and the writer's craft to telling that story with honesty. Anchored by G. Rajaraman, whose 4-decade career spans every major sporting event. I would like to invite on stage Deepa Malik, Soni Sangwan, and G. Rajaraman for the next session. A huge round of applause.
Good evening, and thank you very much to Ekamra, Sandeep especially. And I won't waste too much time. Everybody knows Deepa Malik.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, everybody knows what she's done for India. Everybody knows that she's the first Indian woman to win an Asian Para Games medal for India. She's the first one to win a medal in the Paralympics as well. She's got a lot of firsts. Everybody knows what she's done in the world of sport. I'm not going to stick too much to that world. Soni and I have been colleagues in the Pioneer and Hindustan Times. Thank you, Sandeep, for bringing us together after all these years. It's really remarkable to be able to share stage with two wonderful people who have added a wonderful book to sport literature in this country. Been one of my pet peeves that we don't contribute enough. Thank you, Deepa, for doing that, and thank you, Soni, for helping Deepa do that. I have broken down, sorry to use that word, but I've broken down Deepa into 4 aces. Everybody's played cards and everybody knows that there are 4 aces in a deck. She's been an athlete, everybody knows that, A for athlete. She's been an activist. I'm sure many of you are aware of the work she has done to ensure that wheelchair guests are taken care of by airlines. And they're not treated as patients. She's been an activist. She's been a wonderful adventurer, and that's probably why she's here. And now she's added another A to her deck as an author. So let me start by asking you, Deepa, how easy or difficult was it for you to think of this term, Bring It On, rather than something else as the title of your book?
I won't take the entire credit for the title, but that's what probably Soni and the publisher felt after going through the first draft. And they said the challenges just don't end. One after the other, one after the other. You try to do one thing and it is a series of obstacles. You want to be a biker, there are disruptions and obstacles. You want to do this, wanted to drive a car. So nothing has been smooth, right? From adapting and accepting paralysis in my life. So whether you take it as the society's perception of disability, the life on a wheelchair, moving on to then craving for all the passions that you wanted to do, not because you wanted to be an activist, to lead a regular life, to still be alive despite being chest below paralyzed, because I always say that my body could be paralyzed, my soul was never paralyzed. I was happy celebrating the festival called life. So I think the story is nothing but challenges and then the solution sought. And at the end of it, I've become such a solution finder to everything that I don't get scared or perturbed or shaken up by any challenge coming my way. And this is the mantra, okay, bring it on, we'll find a solution. And I think that's what came across by the end of the draft when it was ready. And I really thank Soni for streamlining it, because when I speak, I can just carry on speaking. I start on a topic A and then I can jump to B and C, and to get the story linear and to get everything into the given amount of pages and to make it an interesting read, she's really taken my narrations very seriously and helped me out. So that has been
Soni, we don't want you to be a mute witness here. Just tell us about the process of getting the title right. Bring It On sounds so interesting. It entices the reader to first look at the cover, and Deepa has got all those medals in her hands, and she's telling, okay, bring on any challenge, but tell us about the process of getting the title right.
See, the biggest challenge in telling Deepa's story, apart from the name, was the fact that everyone knew the outcome of the story. Everyone knew her as the silver medalist, as the first woman to win a Paralympics medal for the country. Everybody already knew the ending of our book. So how do you tell the story of a person whose story everybody else knows already? Hence, we had to, when you look at her, when you hear her tell her story, you realize that the smiling Deepa we see here today, the medalist with the medal around her neck, whom we see on the cover of the page, cover of the book, this is not how she started. The blood, the sweat, the tears that went into getting to this stage, every step was a challenge. Every step was she had to, somebody told her, no, you can't. And she said, oh, you're saying I can't? Bring it on. Every small thing she had to fight for. She had to fight for something like the right to drive a car. When she's coming from the RTO's office, as luck would have it, her cab driver runs a light and the traffic cops just remove the keys from the car, not even giving a second thought to the fact that this lady's wheelchair is in the boot. The boot can't be opened without the key, and you're walking off with the key saying that thane aake le jao. From there, I mean, that's just one very, very small instance of where she says, okay, you took away the key, bring it on. I'm going to show you a way that I can get around every challenge that comes my way.
Thank you, Soni. 3 times in her life, she's dialed 100.
yes.
Just 3 times in her life, but each time she's had the desired result. That motivation in itself, we don't use that number often enough, but you've shown to us through the book that you can actually move every mountain that comes the way. Thank you so much for that. Deepa, I want to stick to writing, and I read this definition of autobiography, because this is an autobiography that we're talking about. It is supposed to be a retrospective narrative that someone makes of his or her own existence when he or she puts the principal accent upon his or her life, especially upon the story of one's own personality. How correct is this book a record of what you have faced in your life? Is it all 100%, or are you holding something back?
I was postponing writing a book for the longest time. And I was not finding the right person to sit down and narrate, because I had to have that vibing with somebody, because obviously I can narrate, but I cannot correct the grammar, I cannot concise the way it is. So I don't belong to the book world, but I have a story to tell, and I really wanted a lot of people to hear it. And then I met Soni, and I sat down with her, and an army wife. She herself has done a couple of rallies. She has been a part of every news which used to come out when I was on this journey called Ability Beyond Disability. So somewhere we connected, and we come from the same community as well. I mean, we both belong to the state of Haryana, and we understood each other very well. And she said, why aren't you writing it? This story needs to be told. And I said, I don't know if, I don't want to write anything which is not true. And I don't want to drop certain boulders if I write everything. So Soni just sat across me and she said, Deepa, when you step out of the house, everybody knows what a human body looks like, you know, and what a female human body looks like. But you still dress up, right? You wear clothes. You don't walk out naked into the public place or anywhere outside your home. You dress up and you go out. We will make the book a little dressed up, which is presentable. We are not going to hurt sentiments. We are not going to make it a book of complaints, because I wanted my book to sound like a book of solutions and an inspiration to those who probably give up on this festival called life. And I think that's where I felt that yes, I can write a book. It is definitely 100% right. Some emotions and some stories may have been not told in a way that it hurts a particular person's sentiments. Like it is always said that forgive those who probably do not even know what they're doing. Because the awareness around para sports, awareness around disability, perception of disability, the gender bias, maybe made a few people ignorant, and that's why they reacted the way they did, and certain things became challenging for me. I wanted to focus more on those who have contributed, who have become instrument in bringing about the change that I wanted to see around me.
Thank you, Deepa. You've broken the stereotype, right? When you think of an athlete, you think of a rural Haryana, semi-literate. You've broken all those stereotypes. I think you would have shocked people with the way you speak English and the way you conduct yourself. But one place, again, talking about autobiography, one thing that is very apparent is when people sit down to write a story, they're not just telling their own stories, there are other stories which are woven inside that. I noticed that you made a very conscious effort to leave out a lot of that. Some of those athletes who you played with, some of those coaches who trained you, who perhaps let you down as well at some point of time, you've been very restrained. Just talk to us through the process of restraint in not putting it as a biography of others as well, but focusing entirely almost on yourself.
I think I'll let Soni answer that,
So
because
when-
she has been my guiding light through this process of restraining and yet ensuring that the story is told.
So we broke down the episodes, and we saw we filtered out things that are irrelevant. The outcome of an incident which strengthens her, it makes her move in a particular direction. We focus on the change in her. We don't focus on the person who's responsible for putting her in an uncomfortable situation. See, as a living person writing their own autobiography, you have to realize that there is a huge circle around you, which includes friends, families, enemies, frenemies, all kinds of people. You have a lot. There were days when during the narrations we would have to stop because both of us were in tears, because what she's saying is so moving, but then we both calm down. Next day we say, yeah, we can't put that in because the people involved are still alive. They may have behaved in a certain way at a certain stage and age in their life. By now, maybe they have also regretted,
And a lot of them have
evolved,
changed.
changed,
A lot of
yes.
them have become my friends over a period of time, and colleagues, and yeah, so I think
And
I'm
one
happy,
thing
yeah.
in life which I've learned from her, and which I also firmly believe is, life is too short to hold grudges. It's best to just take the positive lessons. Everyone's there in your life for a purpose. They have taught you something or the other. So you take the learning and just move on.
Deepa, one of the finest autobiographies I've read ever in my life by a sports person has to be Andre Agassi's Open. I'm sure many have read that book. It's very brazen, very open about it. But apparently, he wrote to people and sought their permission to include certain parts of his own life where they're involved. And then he's included that in his book. He says that it would have been incomplete without some of those mentions. Like his rivalry with others, like how he wanted to beat Boris Becker on the tennis court, and all of that. Did you also have to approach somebody to include certain incidents or not, or exclude some of that? Maybe one of you can answer this question.
I think Soni did get in touch with everyone whosoever I have mentioned and I've written about. And if there are people from whom if we have not taken the permission, then that information is out there in public domain. It's already been written about in the media. It's already mentioned on certain websites. So since the information was already a public information, we probably didn't feel. For example, my court case, the High Court case is there. I mean, it is for everybody to know that before going for Rio Paralympics, I was accused of cheating by a fellow athlete. And it was a rigorous court case that I had to undergo at a time when I should be totally focused on winning a medal for my country. But then it was out there in the public domain, so I really didn't have to take permissions from that person. And if that person is coming out in open to call me out a cheater, then I'm sure and later on I became the president of the Paralympic Committee, and the girl was still an athlete. And the day I took on that responsibility in leadership role, I touched base with all those with whom probably I had had an unpleasant interaction, and I told them that sitting on this chair of president of PCI, I will never use my influence to harm them. In fact, I took extra care that they should not, even in the remotest of their thought process, feel that something is wrong or something is intentionally being done to hamper their progress on their journey of their career, whether it was a coach or whether it was an athlete. And I'm so happy that I have been able to build that faith in the ecosystem.
So at this point of time, may I ask you, why did you not write about your experience as an administrator? So what you just told us is fabulous. Also, I find you've had multiple experiences with varying sports administrators, some good ones, some terrible ones. You very consciously refrained from talking about sports administration. I would have, as a reader, I would have expected you to include at least a chapter on your experience as the PCI president.
So if you read the book, it ends at that medal and me coming home with the medal. And for me, that arrival in India was on 17th of September, which is Prime Minister Sir's birthday. And I said, this is the best gift I could have brought home for the Prime Minister of a country. And I think we can look for a book too.
So that's the next book.
Yeah,
so
that's
we
the
very
next
consciously stopped at the medal, and we had a conversation
because
about
it is
was
also
a very
important for an athlete. When the athlete transcends into an administrator, that's another journey of learning, another journey of experiences, and that also needs to be written, because unless the athletes don't acquire the required knowledge to come back into administration, I think our ecosystem and the sporting, country to become a sporting nation will not be an actual dream coming true. So that book is also going to be written someday.
Lovely. We just heard Sandeep a short while ago talk about how the latest book that he's written was some kind of closure for him. When it came to Pritipal Singh, he achieved some kind of closure. I don't know if he will ever be able to achieve complete closure, but he's getting there. He's somebody who grew up admiring Pritipal Singh because it was a name that his father had shared with him, and therefore the whole book has come up. Was it a very cathartic experience also for you to write the book yourself, Deepa, to go through some of those emotions that you may have left behind some years ago, but you had to relive some of them?
Yes, I true that. Like Soni just said, there were so many moments I broke down, I cried, and I think revisiting those emotions, revisiting those incidents, and now looking at those situations from a different lens. I was able to forgive a lot of people. I was able to ask for forgiveness from a lot of people. And overall, I think writing a book was definitely a closure to many such emotions and putting them in the past.
One of the learnings from your book, Deepa, and I must confess it's a learning, is that you have this ability to have two worlds in your brain, a good world and a bad world, right? how easy or difficult was it for you to access the bad vault?
Deepa was very frank, too frank. I had to often tell her, no, we can't put this in, we can't put this in. I would listen to her, and then we would both talk about it later and say, yeah, it doesn't fit in with the story, it doesn't, like, she was extremely, extremely honest in her narrations. And I had to exercise a lot of gatekeeping as a writer and editor. And when she talks about the two vaults, it's like you said, a learning. It's a process, which it's a way of neurological conditioning, with which is perhaps one of the reasons she's been able to be so positive, despite everything that she went through, childhood as well as at the age of 29.
Thank you, Soni. Deepa, I want to know from you. Soni is a journalist. Sometimes athletes are wary of journalists. Journalists tend to use what we call journalistic license. Did you see that, or did you see her use her journalistic discretion to ensure that the book came out the way you wanted it to?
No, in fact, her being a journalist helped a lot, because there were a lot of incidents, because it's been 25 years. And there were so many things which I remembered vaguely and not correctly. Her research helped me a lot, There were incidents, when we were going for that particular competition, I think it was 2006 or 2007, and then she would immediately go in her research mode and take it out and then say, who was her immediate rival? I said, I don't even remember in 2007 and in 2008, who was I competing against? Because we were so naive and we were so new in it, never really kept that kind of a calculation or remembrance or a diary. So she would immediately go and do the research and find out the correct names, the correct distances, the correct... So her being a journalist really helped me a lot, rather than being of a negative kind of a thing.
And another thing was that when we were writing the book, we kept a lot of stuff out of it, also because the aim of the book was not to write a sensational tell-all. I should mention the publisher here also. He was also very clear, he guided us very well. He said that this has to be an inspirational book, this is a motivational book, this is a book not just for sports people. This is a book which has a story for so many different kinds of people in similar situations, or maybe not even in similar situations, but people who can learn so much from her story. Yeah. So keep the book on a positive and inspirational mode, rather than a sensational or a tell-all kind of a book.
I think there's something for everyone. There is action, there's drama, there's romance, there is adventure, there is a mother-daughter relationship, a husband-wife relationship. So it's not just story of an athlete.
Also, there's a little bit of social media in it. There is one incident with Facebook, where Facebook in those days was not very widely used as it is now, but she used Facebook to save her life. And I won't tell you more about it. You have to read the book to find out how she did it.
Yeah, when the phone gets out of the reach, Facebook comes in very handy.
Yes.
Yeah, but my final...
Literally life-saving.
My final question for both of you before we take any questions from the audience is, I have read about the Stockholm Syndrome of a kidnapper and the kidnapped getting really close. You would have spent a lot of time together. How close has the book brought you together?
I think the fact that we wrote the book together was because we vibed very well with each other. And Soni was never intimidating me, or she was not telling me what to write, rather than she was just filtering the right information in the right manner with the correct research. And when I read the book myself, when it came for the first draft, I was surprised. It was as if it is just replicating my narrations. It's not even changed the language. So that was where, and of course, she could, I don't know why, but we felt that she could relate to every emotion.
Yeah. See,
exactly how I was feeling it.
Because both of us come from a similar background. We are both army kids. We are
army wives.
We are army wives. We've both grown up in similar cantonments. The situations she has gone through, I have been a witness to. I have seen the kind of society
She's
she has
even
grown
done
up
the
in.
rally. I mean, she's
I've
done a
done the
Desert
rally
Storm
too.
car rally, and I was like, "Oh, you have?" She says, "Yes, yes, I know what happens in the
And
rally."
we knew the same people in the circuit. So for us, it was not a question of me getting influenced by her or she getting influenced by me, or either one of us being unaware of each other's faults. We are both quite aware of each
So
other's
Soni was
faults
so
also.
honest in her writing and replicating exactly because we used to do recording of narrations, and when she was putting the words down, she was just correcting the grammar and getting it linear. And then I told her, I said, "Your name is going to come with me." She says, "No, it's an autobiography, Deepa. Don't put my name there." I said, "No, but you've done such a fantastic job, and you have I can't do this book without your name being in the book." So that's
That
in the
was her
least way
generosity.
that I could pay my gratitude to her for her not trying to put a Soni there. She has put a Deepa out there.
Well, thank you very much, Deepa and Soni. I must tell you that a couple of days ago, my phone buzzed. There was Deepa online from Kochi, I think.
Yes, I was in Kochi.
They've been very busy doing this literary festival rounds. My challenge today was to try and get something different for you. The book is soon going to be 1 year old. January, I think it completes 1 year. So my challenge was to try and get the author out of you and the sports lover out of you. Thank you so much for doing what you've done. I'm afraid we're not taking any questions now. We will probably, those who have questions, Deepa is going to be around. You can probably have a conversation with her, because I think we are running behind time.
No, but I must thank Sandeep Mishra and the entire team of today's Literature Fest for making it inclusive. This is yet another step of creating awareness for my sports, which has made me everything that I am today. So a huge shout out to all of you, and thank you for making that ramp to the stage, because that is something which I intended to do through my book as well. Thank you.
I'll also like to thank the organizers for this, and I can't leave the stage without saying, you said bring out the sports lover in me. My husband, who's also Sandeep, by the way, told me that on the stage, from the stage, you have to give a shout out to me, because he's a sports person.
That's your camera.
He's so Sandeep, this is for you. He's also a sportsman, and he has played squash for the services. So this is for you, Sandy.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, guys.
Well, thank you so much, Deepa Malik, for joining us and giving us the opportunity to honor your journey here. And also a huge round of applause for Rajaraman and also for Soni Sangwan. Thank you so much for coming here. That was a really insightful session. And now, moving on to our next session, which is the art of batting with Jared Kimbe. Jared Kimbe has spent his life living and breathing cricket, writing it, analyzing it, filming it, and breaking it down for fans in ways few others can. Okay, before we go on to the next session, let's just quickly do the photo session here. तालियां बजती रहनी चाहिए. We have the legend here with us,